Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tana, like Montana. I talk about social media tips and tricks, what it's like being an influencer and a professional marketer. So go ahead and grab yourself something to drink and let's get started. In today's video, I'm gonna be really just shedding the light and sharing the inside scoop of what brands are actually looking for in an influencer. One of the most important pieces of advice that I can give you to other influencers as a marketer is to remember and be professional, be as professional as possible. And sadly, just being professional is going to set you apart from other influencers, because there were so many times that I had influencers reach out to me and they were just not professional at all. They didn't even have an email signature in their email, which is something that's really small, but it can set you apart from others and just showcase that you're a lot more professional because you took the time to even pay attention to that little detail. And also it gives information on how to contact you if the brand needs to text you or something else. Who knows what'll come up, but everything does come up. Another thing that I wanted to talk about as far as professionalism is that you being professional as an influencer to a brand is going to help you for the future potentially get another deal with that brand or a long-term collaboration with that brand, and it also helps other influencers. When influencers aren't professional, you are giving other influencers a bad rep and a bad name, and brands are getting a bad taste in their mouth for influencers when they end up working with influencers who are not professional and disrespectful. An example of this is when I worked with a couple different hotels. They had all been burned by influencers and had taken a chance on me, which was amazing, but that means that I had to show up even more for that brand to work with them in the future and just get that bad taste for influencers out of their mouth for future influencers to work with those hotels. So let's go ahead and talk about my credibility, just so you know why I'm telling you these things and that I'm not just making it up. So I worked in marketing for 6 years. I worked with different clients running their social media accounts. Before I even graduated college, I was head of social media for a couple different companies, small businesses in town. And then when I graduated, I was able to get a job at a marketing agency. So I was the public relations operations manager, which just was a fancy name for brand manager, and I ran 17 different client accounts and did all of their influencer outreach. Even talking about this, I get PTSD because it was just so much work. 17 different clients who had multiple Instagram profiles, multiple YouTube channels, Facebooks, literally everything. So I know the ins and outs of all of those from the brand manager side, and what brand managers are looking with, what types of budgets they have, what type of lingo they use, marketing terms and words and things that you can say as an influencer to really get their attention and set yourself apart from other influencers. If you're really interested on specifically what I did, you can check out my LinkedIn profile. I have all of that information there about companies that I worked for, clients that I had, all that good stuff. So the first things first that I thought would be the most beneficial to share as a brand manager for influencers was how we actually conducted our research in finding influencers to work with. I think this is such valuable information as an influencer, so you know what brand managers are looking at and you can tailor your profile to specifically catching those brand managers' attention. So first things first is we looked for influencers in the brand's niche. So if I was working with a brand let's just say Ann Taylor. So Ann Taylor is going to be more of a fashion influencer, maybe a lifestyle, but we're probably not going to be reaching out to travel bloggers or beauty bloggers or people who are just outside of their niche. So that's why it's super important to have your niche super visible on your account. So for example, if the brand was KitchenAid, we're definitely going to be looking for lifestyle or food bloggers. And even on my profile, I talk about how I talk about travel, lifestyle, and social media tips. Now that's not super niche down, but when a brand goes to my profile, they know what I'm gonna be discussing in all of my posts on Instagram, Pinterest, my website, YouTube, you name it. Second, we were looking for high quality images. I've talked about this multiple times on this channel that high quality images are so freaking important to brands. You can use iPhones for your personal photos. Like, iPhones are getting so much better. But if you are going to be taking photos for a client, then you need to make sure that you are using a high quality camera or hiring a photographer to take all of your brand photos. At my agency, if an influencer sent me a photo that was an iPhone photo, I would tell them that they needed to reshoot it because you can't do a lot with an iPhone photo. You really need that high quality image, and that is something that brands will, hire a photographer, do an entire shoot, and they are wanting those quality images. So you need to be providing that for them if you're going to be replacing that hired shoot model, all of that for the brand. And something else that we looked for when we were looking for influencers were them already having high quality images. You can tell if they're taking a photo with an iPhone or they're taking it with a nice camera. And so even in your everyday images, if you have a nice camera, use it. Like, use it on your profile because it is gonna set you apart from others. And something else is, it's not that hard to save up for a nice camera. I got my first Nikon D3300, I think, from Costco in a bundle, and I was able to really use that camera to build up my brand. And then once I outgrew it, I upgraded to another Nikon. And so I think that's the most important thing, is like, what are your priorities? Like, if you want to work with brands as an influencer, save up and get a nice camera. Another thing is that it's an investment to get a nice camera for quality images. I think my bundle at Costco for my first camera was like $600. But since I was able to use quality images with brands and do quality images on my blog and my other platforms, getting a nice camera was the best investment that I ever made, because once I was taking all of these nice photos for my social media platforms, brands were able to see what I could do for them, and then I was able to land collaborations that exceeded the price of my camera. So it was a really, really good investment. Another thing about quality images is where you're posing. Pay attention to details. Do not pose in front of garages. If you're gonna pose in front of a mural, I know murals are really big, do it at an angle, or do it where you can't really see like the weeds or the concrete by your feet. Have it where it's like a little bit up. Also, step away from that mural so the background can get a little blurred and you can play with the depth in your photo. Just pay attention to detail. Don't have a trash can behind you. Don't be posing in front of a door at your house if it's not aesthetically pleasing. Like, if you have all your mums and your plants and your pumpkins for fall out, you can make a really pretty photo posing in front of a door for your entrance of your house. But really just pay attention to detail. It is so important, and that is something that I looked at when I was looking for influencers to work with. If they were just posing in front of their garage doors multiple times, I was probably not going to work with them, because I felt like if they couldn't get creative in their own photos, how are they going to be creative enough for me as a brand? And I would be investing in them and then probably seeing a product like what I was seeing on their feed. I think it's just so important to be creative and have fun and do something with the product that's genuine. Don't just like hold it up to the camera, or, be outside with some shampoo in a field when you're like, why would I ever bring shampoo to a field? Maybe if you're like at a beach and they have outdoor showers, you could have the shampoo so you have a beautiful background than, in the bathroom. It's just different. I feel like just always try to utilize the product in a really genuine way. The third thing that we analyzed was engagement. As far as engagement, we were really looking at comments and how the influencer talked to their community. These days, everyone's doing engagement pods, everyone's doing loop giveaways. You can hear exactly what I think about those in this video here. But we wanted to see what people were saying to them, because you could have a great engagement rate and just be paying for it, to be honest. So we wanted to see what real people were saying to the influencers that we were thinking about working with. And if there were other people commenting on the influencer that we were interested in, their post and saying, love that, so cute, oh my gosh, awesome, and not actually saying something genuine, then we felt like those were just other bloggers that were following them and just wanted that specific influencer that we were looking at to go to their post and comment the same thing. We wanted to see audience members comment things that really were tailored to the post that they were talking about. So let's say it's a sponsored post, because that's something that we looked at a lot. How was their audience talking to them about a sponsored post that they did? Because we would be paying them to do a sponsored post. So what we saw in the influencers that we wanted to work with were a community saying, oh my gosh, I love this product, or what, this product sounds amazing, I really want to go purchase this product, or asking specific questions. So if they were talking about a product, let's use shampoo again. Oh, did this shampoo like hydrate your hair? Did this shampoo have this certain ingredient? And then we wanted to see that influencer following up with those people. We wanted to see that influencer having conversations in their comments. We didn't want to see an influencer that never responded, never liked the comments. We wanted to see an influencer that had an engaged community and was building friendships and connections with their audience. That is what was most important to us. I'm gonna be honest, we didn't really care about numbers as much. If someone had 100,000 followers and someone had 5,000 followers, and the 5,000 follower influencer had an amazing engaged audience who was asking tons of questions, we're probably gonna go with them over the person who had 100,000 followers who maybe never responded to their people. All of their comments were, love that, so cute. We really wanted to work with influencers who had that community. And the fourth and final thing that I wanted to touch on, that I touched on a little bit before, was looking at the previous sponsored work. So of course we would look at their previous sponsored work and look at the comments and how their posts performed, but we would also look at the quality of content that they were creating for those sponsored posts. We would look and see if they were working with tons of brands all the time. If an influencer has a feed that is consistently just sponsored posts, we don't feel like that influencer has a personality or they have a real community and they're building trust with their people. Because if an influencer is just consistently posting about all different fashion brands or all different shampoo brands that are all competitors, we don't really know what that influencer likes and if they're just in it for the paycheck. Because if you're talking about one shampoo and then you talk about another shampoo that's literally like the same, are you really using both shampoos? Like, if you are, great, integrate it in an awesome way, talk about the fact that you're using both shampoos. But we really wanted to look at an influencer who believed in brand loyalty and was consistently talking about the same brands over and over again, or had 30% sponsored content and 70% of their content was organic and fun, and they were educating their community on specific topics within their niche, or they were sharing recipes or sharing fashion advice, travel tips, all sorts of things like that. We just really wanted to find influencers that weren't like a walking ad for everything on their feed. That was a big no-no for us. And once we found the influencers that we really wanted to work with, we reached out to them via email. So that is so important. Make sure that you have your email in your bio and connected on Instagram, because when I was looking at influencers, I was looking at my desktop, and my desktop actually doesn't show the contact buttons. So it wasn't a lot of work, but it was like a lot more work than I really wanted to do when I was super busy at a marketing agency, to go to my Instagram app, type in that influencer, find their email, literally hold up the email, copy it into my email template. So just have your email in your bio. That is huge. Another thing that we did when we were conducting research was looking at specific hashtags. So I like to use Houston blogger on mine as an influencer, all of my posts. So then if a brand manager is like, oh, I'm looking for people in Houston, I'm gonna look up Houston blogger. I did that all the time when I lived in Tulsa. I would look up Tulsa blogger and try to find influencers to work with that way. But overall, the relationships that I've been able to cultivate with brands is truly amazing. Influencers and brands should be working together to create a truly beneficial partnership, not a relationship that's one-sided, that being the brand taking advantage of an influencer or the influencer taking advantage of the brand and just wanting that paycheck. Remember, don't be a selfish influencer, and if you're a brand watching this, don't be a selfish brand. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. This was a lot. Oh my gosh, this is such a lot of information, and woo! All right, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.